Hello Stampers, welcome to the craft room and another episode of Card Play. Today I want to share with you a technique. I am going to call this the embossing folder kiss technique. I was playing around with the traditional kissing technique where you bring two stamps together, and I thought, I wonder if you can do that with an embossing folder and a stamp, and this is the result. So let's get started. We're going to use the Ornate Blossom stamp, and we're also going to use our finial press embossing folder. And the side of the embossing folder that you want to use is the one that is raised. So you'll notice that one side is raised and one side is debossed, and we're going to use the raised side. And we're also going to use Baja Breeze ink and Marina Mist ink. And you're going to need a piece of very vanilla cardstock, and this piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So the first thing we want to do is ink up our Ornate Blossom stamp with the Baja Breeze ink, giving it nice full coverage. That looks good. And then we're going to take our Marina Mist ink, and we're going to ink up, again, this raised side of the embossing folder. And you can just kind of rub your ink pad on the embossing folder, and that will ink things up. And you can see that very clearly. And then we're going to take our stamp and huff on it. And then we're just going to stamp down right on that embossing folder, pressing nice and hard. And as you can see, some of the embossing folder design gets transferred to the stamp. We're just going to bring our piece of cardstock here. Again, we're going to huff on this, and then we're just going to stamp down. What I like about this technique is it's always a surprise to me every time I lift the stamp in terms of what comes out. And you can see, hopefully you can see that you've got that embossing folder pattern very lightly on the stamped image. So the next thing we're going to do is take a piece of Baja Breeze seam binding. This piece is probably about 13 inches long, and we're just going to knot it around the bottom of this card. This must be a little bit longer, maybe it's 14 inches long because I seem to have quite a bit of extra here. But no worries, I'm sure I'll figure out what to do with the scraps that I'm going to cut off. And we're just going to knot that here at the bottom of the card. And then we're going to take our ribbon scissors. I have a pair that's just designated for ribbon cutting so that they stay nice and sharp. And we're just going to snip off those extra ends. And the next thing we're going to do is adhere this to a piece of Baja Breeze cardstock. And this piece is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and I just scored it in the middle and folded it in half. And I'm going to adhere that down using my Tombow Mono multi-glue. And I don't use very much glue, just kind of go around the edges and a little bit in the middle. And then we're just going to adhere that to the center of the card. And for our greeting, we're going to use this little hello stamp from the Tiny Tags stamp set, and we're just going to stamp that on a scrap piece of very vanilla cardstock using our soft suede ink. I'm just going to ink that up and stamp that down, and then we're going to take our jewelry tag punch and just punch that out. We're going to take our paper piercing mat and our piercing tool, and we're just going to make a little hole here. And then I cut just a tiny piece of ordinary crochet thread, and we're just going to thread that through. And then we're just going to take that and put it through, I should say underneath. One side of it goes underneath the ribbon, the other side of it is on top of the ribbon, and then we're just going to knot those two pieces. Bring them around and pull them through like so, and then we're just going to snip off the ends of that crochet thread. And there you have it, a really simple card using a very elegant technique, which I'm calling the embossing folder kiss technique. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Card Play, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon here in the craft room.